All right, in this hands-on activity, if you haven't been following along in the previous lessons, hopefully you have, but even if not, maybe you just learn better just by watching it and taking notes. In this activity, it's really important to actually follow along, and hopefully it'll be fun chance to create a custom logo. Just go to File, New, just create a new file here, and we're going to use the Type tool, the Type and a Path tool, Character and Paragraph panels, and the Outlining Text function that we learned in this section to create a logo. So I got an idea in my head for a logo, and so whatever you have an idea, go ahead and sketch it out, and just think about what you want to create a logo for. I'm just going to create a company, my last name, Newman, and then Surfboards. So, first thing you want to do, obviously, is create the text. Depending on what your final product is going to be, you might want to draw shapes first, but for mine, I'm going to do the text first. So, I'm going to click and let go. Type in Newman here, and I want a specific font here that looks good. I'm going to click and drag the corner though first. Bring that out. Again, if you don't see that, go to View and then Show Bounding Box, but it should be there by default. Click and drag up, click and drag over, holding Shift to maintain the proportion, and this font is not going to work. So what I'm thinking is you can kind of experiment with different fonts, but I'm going to try, I think this one will work. All right, I want the same exact font for the one below, so I'm going to Alt or Option on the Mac, click and drag down. Hold Shift if you want it aligned, and then sometimes we do the same font. Actually, I think I'm going to do a different font for this one for the area below it, and so I'm going to make this smaller. And notice the Smart Guide there. If you got those turned on, you'll see it when it aligns with the edge there. All right, let's say we wanted to adjust the tracking. Maybe that's the first thing we want to do. I'm going to actually make this smaller, about the half, instead of just having it that large compared to the type above it. So I'll make it smaller. And then I'm going to go to Window, Type, and then Character. I think we're fine as far as character. Actually, we're going to adjust the tracking, I think. So just make this stretch out a little bit. I'm going to jump down. Actually, I'm going to type in. See what 50 looks like. Maybe a bit more. I'll do 250. All right. So I think that looks good. Again, tracking is right there under character. Paragraph. If it was aligned here on the sides of the text frame, we could just align center, but I'm just going to keep it left aligned for this. And I'm going to bring this, align it to the edge there, so that the Newman is a little bit larger, but more close together. And then the smaller text, it's more spread apart with higher tracking. All right, so that's looking okay. I actually want to use Type and a Path though. For this, I think I'm going to click and drag and select this. So I'm going to copy it and put it over, put this over here to the side. I'm going to draw a slight, I was going to use the pen tool, but yeah, I think I'll experiment and try to see what that looks like. Don't want to overdo it, but all right, something like that. I'm going to do the Type and a Path tool. Hover over here, and I'm going to go to Edit Paste. And it kind of works. It's not quite as long as I need, though. So this actually would be too long. So what I need to do is click and drag that. See how I deselected? I clicked in the background and then click right on the edge and stretch that a little bit. Might be too large. I might need to change that font size. Maybe not. All right. So that's one idea, and I would, of course, change this color to something relevant. But I've got another idea I think I'm going to do. So I'm going to move this up here. I'm going to try something completely different. It's just kind of showing you the brainstorming process, kind of sketching in Illustrator. Something can start with a surfboard somehow like that. Maybe have one be in the negative space. So I'm going to copy and paste that so I have 2 copies of it. And I'm going to do type in a path. No, let's see. Copy this right here. And then go back down here with the type on a path. Let's see, get right on here. I'm actually going to select it down here. Get just some of the normal copy there in the clipboard. Then, alright, so I'm just gonna type in a path. Make sure you got type in a path, not type tool, because that'll embed it in there. Then I'll paste it up there. That looks pretty good. It's maybe a little bit over to the right too much. So remember, again, we can adjust it with this right here. This just needs to be a slight adjustment. I'm looking at the left and the right hand side, so it's perfectly centered here. All right, put that over there. And so there's 2 things we can do here. I could just put this right below it and then have that. I think I actually like that rather than making this curved up. Okay, so I'm going to change this to a color. Maybe some kind of blue. Whoops, need to select it first. Case in point. All right. And then surfboards, I'm actually going to change to white so I can put it on top of that surfboard. It needs to be a little bit smaller text though. And it needs to be in front. So I'm going to go to Object, Arrange, Bring to Front. And instead of changing the font manually, I'm going to just click and drag the corner here with the Shift. Selected, give a little breathing room on the sides. And there we go. I think you don't want to overdo logos. I think that looks pretty good. I think actually adding some kind of wave up here might round it out. So let me actually click and drag up using the pen tool. This is a good practice, especially with the wave. You got to reset that angle because remember it'll come around like this and then come back up. So I'm going to click on the most recent anchor, reset that angle. Bring it back in like that. Just want a subtle wave here, and then we actually want to curve it up a little bit to match that text. And I want the same fill as this. So I'm going to go to the eyedropper tool, pull that. Don't want it touching, just kind of close there. And there we go. I made this really quickly. And there's one last step I almost forgot. Remember, we need to outline type. So click on this, right click over, create outlines. Click on this, right click, create outlines. And now you could actually customize it even more. For example, you can use the white arrow and just adjust this even more, give it more of a stylized look. And so on. Later we'll be getting into different tools like the width tool, so you can really customize. So whatever you're coming up with as far as your logo goes, go ahead and share it with the class in the discussion board. What you need to do is go to File, and then you need to go to Save for Web. And you might not be able to see. Oh, here we go. Just over here, you can use GIF because there's not many colors in it, or you could use JPEG or PNG, either way. But whatever you have, just save it. You might want to crop out before you save it, so go to the Artboard tool and just click and drag this down so it's to the edge of it. Or you can resize it in Photoshop if you know how to do that, but either way. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'll show you what I mean. And I'll bring this one over here. Alright, so once you got it, something like that, it almost looks like a burger. I may need to redo this. Like, it reminds me of the bottom of like a cheeseburger, and then the top, I could put another one up there, and it'd be like a Surfside burger place. But so I might need to redo it because it's not a restaurant; it's a surfboard shop. But anyway, go to File, Save for Web, and then you can save it as GIF, JPEG, PNG, but then it's saving it as the right size right there, as you can see. So insert it as an image in a new post in the discussion board, and then other students can check it out, and I can provide feedback as well. Thanks.